All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're decoding one of India's absolute most prestigious and sought-after business schools, the Faculty of Management Studies, or as we all know it, FMS Delhi. Now, if you're a management aspirant, you already know this name carries some serious weight. So today, we're going to break down the exact data, the history, and the sheer numbers to really understand what makes this institution so incredibly unique. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered what would happen if a top-tier MBA didn't actually mean taking on crippling student debt? I mean, we so often associate elite business education with these massive, overwhelming financial burdens that can take years, sometimes even decades, to comfortably pay off. But what if there was just an absolute incredible exception to that rule? Well, how about 2.32 to 2.4 lakhs? That is the approximate total tuition fee for the entire 2-year full-time MBA program at FMS Delhi. And yeah, you heard that right. In a landscape where top B school fees can easily cross 20 or even 30 lakhs, FMS is literally offering a world-class education for just a fraction of the cost. It's almost unheard of. So, how do they actually do it, and what does it take to get a seat? Well, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the FMS Delhi legacy, the academic programs offered, the unbeatable ROI in fees, their stellar placement records, and finally, that rigorous admission process. Kicking things off with Section 1, the FMS Delhi legacy. Now, while the fees are incredibly low, the prestige is exceptionally high. Affordability here definitely doesn't mean a compromise on reputation. FMS isn't just riding some recent trend, you know? It was established way back in 1954 under the University of Delhi by Professor A. Das Gupta. That actually makes it one of the oldest business schools in India. Over those decades of growth, it's developed massive industry links and a truly powerful network of over 12,000 alumni worldwide. So today, it is consistently ranked among the absolute best B schools in the country. This is a legacy built on decades of serious academic rigor. Moving right along to Section 2, academic programs offered. FMS is actually highly versatile, catering to completely different stages of a professional's career. While their full-time 2-year MBA is that flagship program everyone talks about, they also offer an MBA executive program. Now, this is an evening program perfectly designed for working professionals who want to study without hitting pause on their careers. Plus, there's an MBA executive with a specific focus on healthcare administration and a super rigorous doctoral program in management. So they've really structured their offerings to cater to both fresh graduates and seasoned professionals looking to level up. Up next, Section 3, unbeatable ROI and fees. And this brilliantly illustrates the part that truly sets FMS apart globally. Think about it. On one hand, your total tuition fees hover right around 2.32 to 2.4 lakhs for the entire 2 years. But on the other hand, the career outcomes are just exceptional. We're talking about average packages around 34 lakhs per annum, with the absolute highest packages crossing the 1.2 crore mark. You literally invest a fraction of the standard cost and step right into some of the highest paying corporate roles in the world. It's a real game changer. That leads us perfectly into Section 4, stellar placement records. Now, it's one thing to just talk about average numbers, but let's look at who is actually hiring here. FMS boasts a consistent, historical 100% placement rate. And get this, the top 100 students in the batch average over 45 lakhs per annum. And the recruiters? You're looking at the absolute elite of the elite. McKinsey, BCG, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and the Tata Group. Even the summer internships are incredibly lucrative, with stipends averaging over 2.6 lakhs. These top global firms aggressively recruit from FMS because they absolutely know the sheer caliber of the students walking those halls. If we break down these placement offers across different industries, we can see exactly where these graduates are going. Consulting and general management take the lion's share, pulling in 76 offers in a recent batch. That's followed by sales and marketing with 43, analytics and IT with 27, and finance with 23. What this breakdown really proves is that whether you want to be a top-tier consultant or a marketing guru, FMS essentially provides the ultimate launchpad. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the rigorous admission process. Look, with such an incredible ROI, getting accepted is, as you might expect, extraordinarily difficult. 99.5 plus. For general category candidates, a CAT percentile north of 99.5 is essentially the bare minimum just to be considered for an interview. No joke. It requires a truly elite level of dedication, preparation, and flawless execution on the CAT exam. But here's the kicker. That CAT score is really only half the battle. The final selection component is multi-layered. It's almost like a giant puzzle. Your CAT score carries a 50% weightage. But then you've got the personal interview at 15%, your class 10 and 12 marks at 10% each, a statement of purpose at 10%, and an extempo round at 5%. They're actively looking for well-rounded individuals here. You need impeccable communication skills, a rock-solid academic past, and just absolute clarity of purpose to make it through this gauntlet. Now, an actually really interesting nuance to this process is how FMS actively shapes its cohort. To promote diversity, women candidates receive an additional 5 marks added to their weighted score for interview shortlisting. It's a very targeted, deliberate effort by the school to ensure a diverse and inclusive environment inside the classroom, which, let's be honest, ultimately enriches the learning experience for absolutely everyone.
So, the crucial point is that while the target is immensely high, it is structured across categories. The minimum expected CAT cutoff does vary. General is 99.5 plus, EWS is 98 plus, NCOBC is 97 plus, and then it scales down through the SC, ST, and PWD categories. However, regardless of your category, you've got to remember that these are literally just the minimums to get a foot in the door. The competition remains fiercely intense across the board.
But, this grueling process is exactly what shapes such incredible leaders. Just take a look at this quote from Priya Ramdev, the Chief People Officer at McKinsey & Company, and of course, an FMS alum. She says, "FMS means to me, forge, master, succeed." This encapsulates the journey of forging strong foundations, mastering skills, and ultimately succeeding. I just think that beautifully captures the profound, lifelong impact this institution has on its high-achieving corporate leaders.
And hey, it's not just traditional corporate roles either. Look at this great quote from actor and comedian Kumar Varun. He said, "My time at FMS Delhi taught me invaluable lessons, provided lifelong friends and content that fuels my comedy." It just goes to show how a truly rigorous business education builds fundamental life skills. And, I guess, maybe gives you enough corporate insight to fuel a successful stand-up comedy career too.
Which finally brings us to the ultimate question. Do you have the dedication, the resilience, and the 99.5 plus percentile it takes to conquer the admission gauntlet and claim your seat at this legendary institution? The path to FMS Delhi is definitely steep and incredibly demanding. But as we've clearly seen today, the view from the top is absolutely worth it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep focused on your learning and start preparing.